Live from Paradise Studios in Massapequa, New York, it's Unger the Radar, starring Randy Unger. Brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Tonight, Randy will be interviewing film editor, composer John Ottman of the hit film Bohemian Rhapsody. Randy will also be reviewing the new films On the Basis of Sex, Welcome to Marwen, and All Is True, with special guest critics Dan Shaggy GB, Caitlin Crowley, Jennifer Covey, Rob Harris, and Amanda Vasquez. And now, here's your host, Randy Unger.
Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another edition of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And right now, I have on the phone with me the film editor and composer, John Ottman, of the new film, the hit film, Bohemian Rhapsody. How's it going, John?
Good. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time today. So, I know you've had a long and successful history with Bryan Singer, but tell everybody, how did you get involved with this project?
The same way as most of them. I get a phone call, and then I say, shit, I don't want to do a film right now, and then I end up doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do this double duty thing for years with Bryan, sometimes triple duty, where I'm the composer, I'm the editor, I'm the producer, and so after X-Men Apocalypse, I said, look, I can't do this anymore. I can't do all those tasks at once. I'll score the film, but I just can't. I can't be in it for the long haul. And so basically, that was going to be the new thing, where I was going to just write the scores. And then he calls me with this thing. I'm like, how do you say no to that? You know.
Right.
So I think I guess I shouldn't swear on the radio, but my first reaction was mother F. Like you had to call with that, you know. So how can I say no? So I the intention, of course, was for me to do double duty again. But as the film progressed, I just decided to throw myself on my sword, I guess you would say, or I don't know how you put it, but I took my name off the title for the music and realized that it just made more sense for me to manipulate Queen's music and to try to endeavor not to use film music, because I just felt it would trivialize the film and it wouldn't be pure. So I ended up using like opera music and so forth, and like some scenes, because I knew Freddie listened to that, and then I would manipulate some tracks from the Queen music, like when he gets his diagnosis and so forth. I took out the vocal tracks and kind of almost scored it with their tracks and things like that. So I just feel like it would have really made it really just so typical if I put stupid film music in the film.
Okay. Now as a musician, what was it like approaching this film, which is about musicians? Was it difficult?
Well, yes and no. I mean, because I am a composer, I guess it was less difficult than it would have been for an editor who wasn't a composer. But it's always difficult when you're dealing with, really iconic music, and some of the guys are still living, and you don't want to piss them off. So, Brian May and Roger Taylor were involved in watching what I would do. They'd come in every couple months and take a look and you can't really play the concerts in real time. I had to make some cuts somewhere, but give them the illusion of being in real time, where you don't really notice the edits in time. And so inevitably, I'd have to go up into a Brian May solo, and that's where I would find my time to cut out. Of course, he didn't like that sometimes. So we bartered. Like take one part out of here, and I'll restore another part here, just to get some of the solos back. But it was a process. But so I guess that was the answer to the question: yes and no.
Okay. And now, did you work with the actors in terms of them operating the musical instruments?
I did a little bit with Rami with the piano during the Live Aid sequence, because he wasn't a piano player, nor was he a singer. So that's all the film trickery, film magic, as you'd call it. So that was the extent of what I really worked with any actor on the film. So and just choosing the best lip sync moments and building that sequence, which I always call the Death Star secrets for our film because the film lived or died by Live Aid. It's because basically we end it with Live Aid and that's the end of the movie. So if that didn't work as a big cathartic thing, the film would be a disaster. So that kept me up every night for a year because it was the first thing that we shot, and so I had time to tinker with it every waking moment. You know, I'm always worried about it, of course.
Okay.
And so that was something I worked on for quite a long time.
Okay. Now, what do you prefer? What do you prefer? Do you prefer editing to composing, or vice versa? Are they kind of similar, or?
I'm really good at it, but I hate editing. I shouldn't say that probably, but it's only because of a lifestyle thing. It's you know, a year or two on one project, and it's you know, and it's like trying to solve a math equation for a year and a half. And so even if I go to a movie or a dinner, if I even have time, I don't enjoy myself because I'm always thinking about the film. Whereas a film score, you know, my commitment is maybe 2 or 3 months, and I'm done, and I can switch to a different genre, or take some time off, and it's not so tormenting. You know, and plus I love writing film music, and as you might imagine, there's nothing like when you are there with an orchestra recording a score. So, but it's just a lot of responsibility to be a film editor. People don't often know what a film editor does, and it varies with the director's relationship with the editor's relationship with the directors, but. You know, it's basically you're managing the entire film from storyboarding to looping the actors to supervising visual effects shots to the final mix of the sound to every little thing that can happen, all the politics, the test screenings, pleading with studio executives not to ruin the movie. You know, so it's a wide range of responsibility.
I can definitely sympathize. Yeah, that's a very challenging role, editor. So tell us a little bit about your history with Bryan Singer. I believe you first worked in '95 with the Usual Suspects.
Yeah, well, that was the first one where we were noticed. I mean, there was another feature before that called Public Access that won the Sundance Film Festival, but it was never released. And that was the first time that I had written a score and was the editor at the same time through a fluke because our composer dropped out at the last minute, so I ended up writing the score. So then when we put The Usual Suspects together, I was like, I don't want to edit the film, I just want to be the composer. And he's like, hell no, you're never going to score a film for me unless you're the editor. So that's how the blackmail began. And really, it's a true story. He will fully admit that it was basically a blackmail situation. And then my agent will often complain, like, does Tim Burton make Danny Elfman wash his car so we can score the film? But of course, film editing is hardly washing a car. It's the most important job, I think, on a film. But so that's been my plight. You know, it's sort of been a strange career for me because in one regard, I go away for a year or two, I get a big score out of it, but I lose another 4 scores or so because, you know, we composers can do like 4 or 5 movies in a year. So in one way, it was great for a film music career to do a big film with Bryan, but then it was also a detriment because I would disappear from my craft for over a year or more, which is kind of damaging. You know.
Who are some of your film music influences?
Bar none, Jerry Goldsmith. I'm a big Star Trek fanatic from the original series days. So when Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which was the first Star Trek movie, came out, and Alien, which is one of my favorite films of all time, came out around the same time. Okay. I discovered Jerry Goldsmith, and then basically went back and collected all of his scores, even those that were written before I was even born. You know?
And Alien and Star Trek are both by Goldsmith. Very different scores, though they are both science fiction scores, and very well-renowned. So yeah, okay, good choices there.
Yeah.
What other?
When you watch Star Trek: The Motion Picture, even though you might be glazed over, which I'm not, I think it's one of my. You shouldn't ever get me on the subject of Star Trek, because I can talk about it forever. But I think Star Trek: The Motion Picture,
we have some time,
revisited now, is one of the last pure science fiction movies. But if you're glazed over by it, just listen to the score, because the score is magnificent.
Right. The Enterprise is one of my favorite tracks, actually.
Oh, it's amazing, and the sequence itself, just I can watch it over and over, and I try try to give myself hope for the future, which I have little of right now.
I heard one fan that when Jerry passed away, that he blasted the main title like as loud as he could, sort of like to comfort himself, and that makes sense to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool. Any other influences?
Well, I mean, the obvious ones. I mean, obviously, in my generation, when I saw Star Wars, it blew my world apart. And so it's John Williams, of course. I'm really it's the obvious masters. John Williams, Jerry Goldsmith, and James Horner. Mm-hmm. When I was young and making movies, I would use their tracks on my films, and I also think that composers for the original Star Trek series had a lot to do with shaping my sensibilities in film scoring, because those episodes were scored like movies, and they couldn't afford to score every single episode.
Right.
So the music editors were the unsung heroes, where they reused a lot of the thematic material very craftily, and so it gave the series a real cohesiveness, revisiting themes and motifs and so forth. So I think watching each of those episodes, 50 times really had an impact on me.
Okay. And now you briefly mentioned John Williams, and you scored Superman Returns in 2006. Right. What was that like, kind of basically stepping into John Williams' shoes, or was he a huge influence in that respect?
Yeah, I mean, I of course I know his scores in the back of my hand, and so I didn't really have to refer to any of his music. I just did it all in my head. So, but it was daunting, and I literally was getting emails and from people saying, "Why the hell are you scoring this film?" And practically feeling like I was getting death threats. And I felt like I've told this story before, where it got to a point where I was being crippled creatively by the worry of what people would think and what their expectations were. And finally, I just had to rid myself of all that and have the confidence to just dive in and score the film as I would if it was just given to me, and knowing the John Williams stuff and using the John Williams stuff to sort of infuse into my material. And a good score came of it, because I lost my fear, and that they, I guess for promo purposes, they contacted him to come down maybe to the scoring sessions and watch, and thank God he couldn't come. I would have been just paralyzed.
Did he give you his blessing?
Yeah, I never heard. I don't really know John Williams like a pal, so I have no idea what he ever thought of the score, whether he even saw the film. I was very pleased with what I did, and I always like people to know that when that film came out, even though I used John Williams stuff, it was like 110 minutes of music, and if you totaled up the amount of dun-dun-duns that I did in the score, it probably totaled a few minutes. So it was largely an original score. But so, anyways, I was very happy with how it came out.
Great. Now, coming back to Bohemian Rhapsody, quite a different film.
Yeah.
So what do you hope
a more entertaining film, actually.
Yeah. No, I like both, actually. What do you hope audiences take away from the film that they haven't taken away with already?
Let's say that again.
Oh, sorry. What do you hope audiences take away? What do you hope audiences take away from the film?
Oh, well, I mean, I think the goal of the movie was basically to be a celebration of Freddie Mercury, and so I just hope they take away. I don't know. I mean, it just wanted them to enjoy, to have a good time, and to not make it too frivolous in terms of it definitely showed that the classic story where a person falls from grace in a way, they get full of themselves, and they end up having to apologize to their cohorts with their tail between their legs, and then it's sort of a what do you call it? A cathartic thing at the end where they come back to the creative person they were supposed to be in the first place. It's that classic structure. But I don't know how they should come away from it, aside from being thrilled and full of emotion. So that was the number one goal, is for it to be celebratory and to people be emotionally wrapped up into Freddie and to feel emotional. Yeah, I mean, and Queen was all about building participation between their music and the audience, and We Will Rock You is the ultimate idea, of that. And so I was hoping that the film would also evoke that in the film audience as well, and kind of bring them in, and also bring in younger people that didn't really necessarily know Queen that well, and involve them. So we wanted to be a widest appeal possible without making the film stupid, So I think we rode the line pretty good,
Yeah.
It's always a battle, There's always, I like to say that we walk away from a film, licking our wounds and hoping you got most of what you wanted. So when the producer and I, who basically bonded together, creating this film in post, that we looked at each other and we said, well, we got about 90% of what we wanted. That's a good thing. So, because always a couple scenes I wish we could have left in and so forth. So maybe if there's an extended version later, people can see that,
That's awesome. So, John, what's on the horizon? What's next for you? Anything you can talk about?
If there were, I would, because I'm an open book kind of guy. But no, I got nothing going on right now because I just decided to when you're on a film for a year and your personal life is in the shitter, you just gotta, I made a decision just not to dive into stuff. So I'm just sort of taking a break, and I'm in a sort of a weird crossroads right now to decide what I want to do with my life.
Okay.
Whether I want to go back and start scoring or look for material to direct, I don't know. So it's a good place to be in. It's also sort of a strange place to be in. So I'll see what happens.
You said
I forged a really good relationship with the producer on the film, and so maybe we can work together on some stuff. I have no idea.
You just said your life's a little bit in the shitter, if I'm not mistaken. Just wanted to.
Yeah, your personal life is in the shitter when you edit a film. It's the worst punishment you could put a person through.
What happened? If you don't mind me asking.
No, it's just the nature of making movies. It's just you don't see your friends, family, or anybody. It's that's just the way it is. I mean, you go into it's a deal with the devil. When you're successful in this business, as I'm sure you've heard from people, you're really it's a deal with the devil.
Right.
You get to make movies, and there's amazing high points, but there's a lot of sacrifice that goes along with it in terms of your lifestyle.
I think it's like that with most jobs, unfortunately, especially the entertainment industry. But
especially what?
Especially the entertainment industry. I mean, it's a pretty crazy business.
Yeah.
Well, John, I hope things are looking up. They seem to. This movie's getting so many awards. It's getting some of the best acclaim.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be happier for everyone involved, and the producer who, it took him 10 years to get this thing off the ground, Graham King.
Yeah.
And his producing partner. The two of them, went through lots of machinations to get this thing going, and was always teetering on the abyss, and so I'm really happy for him also that it worked out and made so much money. Not that it made so much money, that too, but that is indicative of the fact that audiences, even beyond the Queen fans, love it. So, and they're going. I mean, I haven't talked to anyone who hasn't seen it more than 2 or 3 times. I mean, who hasn't seen it more than one time. Everyone seems to have seen it over and over again.
Yeah. Great. It's got multiple playability. Like you can see this. Yeah, it never gets old. I only saw it once, but I'm definitely going to revisit it very soon. Yeah, I know. I need to see it more, and I will.
Yeah, it's weird. It's probably the only film I've worked on, aside from maybe The Usual Suspects, where I can watch it over and over as the person who made it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't never gets old for me. It just doesn't get old. So I've seen it. Yeah. I don't know how many times I've seen this thing in screenings recently, and I always have a good time.
Yeah. All right. Well, John, I want to thank you so much today. This has been amazing.
Sure.
The film's amazing, and you've done a great job pulling double duty as editor and composer. Thank you.
No, I didn't compose the score on this one. Remember, I didn't do that on this one.
Oh, my mistake. Okay. But you did a hell of a job.
I was going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I manipulated Queen stuff, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And if you're ever in Long Island, feel free to stop by the studio. We'd love to have you come in for an in-person interview.
Oh, cool. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
All right, great. John, thanks so much.
All right, thanks.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye. Okay, guys, well, that was our interview segment. And next up, we're going to have our film review segment with some very special guest critics right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
And we're back, guys. Welcome back to Under the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger. And this is our special film review segment, but it's a very special film review segment because it is the couples edition. And we're all couples here. It's like a triple date. So how's it going, guys? Amanda Vasquez, hello.
Hi.
Caitlin Crowley, hey.
Hello.
Dan Shaggy GB, back for more.
Who's back for more? Me or you?
Oh, good. That's good. That's very deep. Jennifer Covey,
Hello.
welcome back. And Mr. Rob Harris, also
Hi, guys.
new.
Nice to be here.
What's going on, guys? Good to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we had a few movies scheduled, but it kind of dwindled down to just one.
It was too many
For most of you.
choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do the best we can with the three movies. But I guess we'll start with the popular one. Welcome to Morrowind. Yeah, it is really. And basically, it stars Steve Carell as it was actually a real case of Mark Hogenkamp, who was beaten not to death, but almost. Basically, he suffered brain damage, and basically he tries to recreate the memories, try to remember what happened to his life by creating a small village of like G.I. Joe type dolls. And it's directed by Robert Zemeckis, amazing director, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Castaway. And for me, the only remarkable thing about this movie is the motion capture, which he's so well known for, you know, like Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, Polar Express. So, Amanda, we're gonna skip aside. You just chime in when you can, okay? So, Caitlin, your thoughts on Welcome to Morrowind?
My thoughts on it, I liked it. I did. There was a lot of certain aspects also with not just the fact of, you know, the motion pictures and the motion capture and everything. It was also explaining the fact of what happens with people who do suffer from PTSD, who do suffer from certain things. And it's almost, to me, like it was almost like another, like, you took a step back and you saw into his world, and you can see what not just what he goes through, but what other people go through with these kinds of situations. And I thought that was very, with what they were trying to portray with the story, what also they were portraying is, I don't know if they meant to portray it also with that, but I found that very. I really liked that aspect of it. There were some creepy parts of the movie that I was just like,
Yeah.
I can't handle that, but overall I did really like the movie.
Yeah, it's a bizarre movie.
There's a couple of parts that was very bizarre. It was
Off.
like, whoa.
Dan.
Well, as I told you, I liked it. I'm not going to use the F word on this one. So usually a lot of my criticisms with any of the movies you make me see, especially one that I keep bringing back because I just love
Bring it.
torture. Oh, which opening night.
Oh God, that was like
that was probably going to be my longest F rant in like the longest time. You told me I only could do one F bomb.
that was my second show. That was like over a year ago. He still brings
And
it.
it still scars him.
No, it scarred me for life. This it gave me PSD.
Good
Good PTSD from
That one too.
that.
That too.
Not too. But yeah, no, I liked the movie. There was a couple of things. It was like there was subtle. It was very subtle with how they addressed a lot of things. Like a lot of the characters they brought in. Like I'm not going to give anything away, but Deja.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very like subtle and just very nice how they brought about like how they would figure out who her character is, who like she actually was in the world. So it was kind of like, oh, when you got that, oh my god, it made me stop and go, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't miss that. Wow, I can't believe I missed that. But yeah, the whole idea of like he immersed himself so much into the world that it affected everything around him, but nobody else could see that he was being affected like that.
Right.
It was almost like he was like trying to, trying to like step back and try to heal himself, but at that point, while healing himself, he got trapped in his own world. So it was like almost like a double-edged sword. That's
Interesting.
what I thought.
Which I think happens a lot with people with PTSD anyways.
Yeah.
What did you think, Jennifer?
Well, this movie, I looked up a little before I saw it.
Yeah.
It got like terrible reviews for some reason, but I loved it. I wasn't expecting to, maybe because I went in with my bar really low after that, but I thought it was like one of the best movies I've seen this year. Probably.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. I have weird taste in movies. But the reason I thought it was so good is because I've never seen anything like this before. And I'm like the poster girl for like, let's do original things. Because I keep seeing the same like regurgitated storyline over and over with like different endings a little bit. But I had no idea where this was going. I kind of knew it was based on a real thing. And then I looked it up later and obviously it was. But I don't know. It was just like one of those truth is stranger than fiction kind of scenarios, and I don't think we've seen a lot of that recently in film.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Most people didn't. I know that I'm like in the minority with that, but like I don't know. There was just something weird about it that really captured my interest.
I think it had a lot more potential than how it was really played
I had
out.
some issues with things that happened, but I mean overall, I really liked it.
Okay, that's fair. Rob.
Yeah, I thought the film was really interesting. You know, like, I mean, it wasn't one of my favorite movies. Definitely glad I saw it, but it's not like one of those movies that I'd watch like, 3-10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting how, like the people in this town, like the dolls, were characters, and how that aspect, of his life was kind of like seeping into his reality with actual people in his world. That was very interesting. I mean, I just have to say, like, I really appreciate the homage to Back to the Future.
Oh,
the
yes.
movie. Like,
That's kind of a spoiler.
I
That's
did
a
like
spoiler.
that
Sorry
too.
about that.
That's awesome, though.
I did like that also.
I do think that the fictional world was more focused on than the real world. I wanted to see more of the real Mark.
Yeah.
We didn't really get his backstory too much.
That's one of the things I didn't like about this is that I felt like at certain points they were trying to do too much, like even politically or like just little comments that never tied up any loose ends. So like for example, that girl across the street, Nicole, she's like, oh yeah, he used to be a police officer and then he got 2 DUIs, and which was like kind of a jab, I guess, at like certain police officers, which is like their intention, whatever, but then they didn't go anywhere with it. We never saw him again. He just like disappeared. Yeah. That to me was weird. And then also that girl Nicole with her son. We saw pictures of her son, and then nobody said anything about it.
And we had 2 scenes with Leslie Mann's ex-boyfriend.
That's what I'm talking about with the police officer.
It's like what?
Yeah, it just stopped.
Yeah, it was like never resolved.
Yeah, stuff like that is what really annoyed me.
Yeah,
with
me
this
too.
movie.
They could have taken out like 5 or 6 things like that, and I wouldn't have missed it at all.
I mean, Steve Carell's such a good actor
He
too.
did a phenomenal job. I thought he did a great job.
If they focused more on the real Mark,
I agree.
That would have been an Oscar-worthy film, I think.
I thought he did. I thought he was amazing in this film.
Yeah, Amanda, you're a big Steve Carell fan.
I am a big Steve
Yeah?
Carell fan. I mean, from not watching the movie.
It's all right.
Like coming
You're
from
not missing much.
like the audience, if I'm coming from like a person who hasn't watched it, I don't know. It sounds like they didn't focus on live action that much. That's what you guys are saying. Like they focused more on
I think that they had an equal amount of live action versus CGI or whatever, but I think that it was just the storyline was better in the CGI one than it was the live action.
But that's what I kind of see that from
So the
the
live
film's
action had more
perspective.
loose ends then.
Yes, that's what I was saying a second ago with the police officer, and then they mentioned the kid.
The kid.
Yeah.
A bunch of other things they said too. There was
A lot
like
of
something else.
glassed over things.
Caitlin,
Yeah,
you
they
were
just like glossed
saying
over them.
I can see that, but I also can see it from the other side of this perspective. Like, they were trying to more focus on what his world was in his head, and personally, I would have wanted to see a lot more of like the history, and they only gave you like a little bit, like what happened, who are the people who did it, this, that, and the third.
Flashback here, flashback
Yeah.
there.
Well, that's why I had to look up a lot of the stuff after.
Because it was very confusing at some point. Like I was telling Dan, I was like, "Who is Wendy?" Like I've never like Wendy was mentioned like twice, and then that was
supposed to know.
Right.
We're just supposed to know who Wendy is. So I was like, "Did he really marry Wendy?" But like,
Yeah, she looked it up.
Well, that's
Yeah.
another thing. They show pictures of him, and it said like in his book, like I think I was divorced. Like, wouldn't somebody have told him like this happened?
Hey,
There's got to be
FYI.
somebody that knows.
You know what I just thought of? I just thought of the movie Memento. Did you guys see Memento?
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
was
that movie's
my-
really
interesting.
when I
Yeah.
saw-
Where he
watching this.
tattoos like
Yeah.
facts about his life.
So he
and
can remember.
See,
Like,
that's kind of what this is in a weird way.
in a way,
But
Yeah.
that's what I liked is that it was like different.
Yeah.
But there were just some loose ends that I didn't like, which is
Yeah.
what knocked it down a little for me.
but that
Especially-
makes sense. If they wanted to focus more on what was happening in his head, they
In his
had to
head.
Yeah.
focus on
Yeah.
it.
I just think I don't think it was balanced.
Yeah, they could have just eliminated
Yeah.
those lines though, and then it wouldn't have been.
or characters. At
Have
that
more
point.
Yeah, or
Related
characters. Yeah.
Like they showed more. I think the trailer had more heart and personality than the
Yeah, 'cause
movie
the
itself.
trailer looks
I know.
like-
I was so excited too, not just
looks
for the trailer.
extraordinary.
But-
Don't let them
Yeah.
intimidate you, Amanda. The
No.
movie was
Don't
good.
judge a
Okay.
book by its cover.
But Robert
the
Zemeckis.
trailer looks so great.
Okay, well that's another thing. That's another thing though, because everybody's like, "Oh, Robert Zemeckis, why can't he produce really good films anymore?" Or
Oh
whatever.
my God.
And it's no, I've read that online, and it's just like this wasn't meant to be a
They act
Forrest
like it's the
Gump.
downfall
Yeah.
of his career.
But
You
it
know
could
what
have been
I
an
mean?
amazing human drama.
It could have been amazing, but
instead
I
of a
think we need.
sci-fi spectacle.
We just
I
need a
think we
little
need
bit
to
more.
separate.
But he likes those CGI.
I know, but
part.
but he's so good at human like actual people.
But see, that is like what I think what's holding people back from just enjoying his films because you're like, oh well, this isn't the same as Castaway, but it's not supposed to be the same as Castaway.
Yeah. I saw the Polar Express like I think for the first time a couple years ago. It doesn't really have replay value, but
I don't like that movie.
no. What about so what do you-
I mean, I like
Beowulf?
Forrest Gump.
I didn't see Beowulf. You probably Dan.
I
You're
saw it. It was.
no.
It was.
wasn't-
It was too much. It was, it was way
For you to
much.
say that, that's okay.
I mean, I saw Polar Express.
Yeah.
This is coming from somebody that just loathes Batman versus Superman.
Oh
Oh
God.
my god.
Imagine if that was directed by Zemeckis. That'd be weird.
I do have to say though, whoever cast this film did a phenomenal
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
I thought every person in this was perfect for the role.
That's good. It has that going for it.
Yeah, for sure.
I really did.
It definitely had a lot of like little comedy and little jabs that were like, oh, okay.
Well, because it's Steve Carell, so
Yeah,
it's
I feel
like,
like that's-
you can never take him too seriously.
I feel like that's his style of acting.
Except
you know?
in Foxcatcher. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
No, I never even
Have
heard
not.
of it.
He
What's
plays
that one?
this like eccentric millionaire who hires this. It's weird. He like invests in an Olympic wrestling group, like two brothers.
Wow.
And it's based on a true story. He ends up.
These true stories.
Yeah. Basically, he's a psycho billionaire or millionaire who, Foxcatcher came out a couple
Really?
years
I've
ago.
only seen him as like this fun-loving type guy,
He's
not
been
like a
playing-
psycho millionaire.
I mean, I've seen him in serious roles too, but
Yeah.
like even his serious roles usually have like
He's like this fun-loving guy. Like,
a
Yeah.
little bit of like
Humor.
lightheartedness.
Yeah.
and like somebody you want to care about.
But that's how I mean that's why I think he did a good job in this because I did start to care about.
That's
his
why I was so
character.
excited
He's
about it.
always
Like,
the
this
one
could have
that
been
you wanna
Carell's
care about.
Oscar, at least.
That's what I think is
nomination.
unfair. Is like I think he gave a great performance. I think what would be holding him back from the
storyline
Oscar
ruined
is the storyline.
Wow.
Yeah.
He
It's
did a
horrible.
phenomenal job.
He
I
did.
will hold to that.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what we've been saying for like a lot of the movies lately. The storyline is just
Yeah, the
bringing
writing.
people back.
Just bad scripts.
Terrible.
It's horrible.
It's also hard to write something based
That's
on
true.
a real
'Cause you want to be
scenario.
as
You want to be as real
Right.
as possible,
Yeah.
but you don't want to give all their information away.
yeah.
It's
Especially if
like,
the character's there when you're shooting, you want to be as
Yeah.
true to it as possible.
True.
Well, it's kind of like with Bohemian Rhapsody. They,
I was just gonna say.
they,
Yep.
they changed a good amount of things.
They did, yeah.
They
They
kept a
did.
little bit more like on the lines of like, you know what, Freddie had his lows and his highs,
Yeah.
but they didn't show like my brother went straight out. He's like, dude, that guy was like nonstop like coke,
Yeah.
heroin, like anything that he was able to get his hands on.
Yeah.
It was either up his nose or in his veins, and they said it was just mess every day. But they were like they made it so it was like it wasn't blatantly in your face.
Kind of
They
made
had-
him likable. And
But I
Yeah.
think
They
this
did
one,
make him likable.
yeah.
this
Like, you
one was
cared about
based
him.
on. I think it was so closely based on the real story, and that might be why we feel like the storyline wasn't that great. Because I was comparing the two things, and they didn't change too much.
Wow.
Wait, are you talking about
That's good.
Bohemian
Marlon.
Rhapsody
No.
or Marmon?
Well,
Marmon.
Marwin. Like you know how they say like truth versus fiction, and they write like what the movie did different, like whatever. There really wasn't that many different
Wow.
things. They kept it
That's
really
good.
similar.
I know was one of the things I looked up and I found it was like the reason that they named it Morrowind Cole wasn't actually because I met a girl named Nicole. It was his two crushes, Wendy and Colleen.
Yeah, that's
But they were
right.
his neighbors, which is
Yeah.
what she is in the film. So
Got it.
So which
then
one's
it's
Mar again?
It's him, Mar.
Him,
He's
Mark.
he's
He's
okay,
Mar,
Mar,
but then
Wendy,
and then
Nicole.
then- Yeah.
Oh my
Colleen.
goodness.
Colleen
That
was
was
the
cute.
real woman in real life,
life.
but she
Yeah.
was his neighbor across the street who came
See,
over. So
This could have been a good documentary.
All
it was a
of that.
documentary.
It was a
It
documentary.
came out in 2010. The
See,
movie
that's-
is based on the documentary, though.
That might be more entertaining than this,
Yeah.
I think. Oh boy. All right, guys. So now, Amanda,
Yeah.
you and I, we saw an interesting little movie about a month ago or a few weeks ago. All is True,
Yeah.
and basically tells the later years of William Shakespeare, and it stars the amazing Kenneth Branagh, who's done Shakespearean films since like the 80s. He's been in, I think, the Harry Potter movies too. Was he? I'm looking at you, Dan.
If you're looking up here, you're looking at the wrong people.
Yeah. Okay. Damn.
Like honestly, I need to see a picture of his face and be like, oh, now I know who he
Yeah,
is.
you,
Okay.
yeah, I think he was in
Okay.
some of the Harry Potters. He was
I
also
feel like
in,
he has been. Though.
I
feel-
he looks super
the name
familiar.
yeah.
The name
Yeah.
did not ring any bells. I was like, I have to see his face.
he was also in Wild Wild West. If you guys,
What is that? With
anybody,
Wait a minute.
crickets?
So a long time ago.
wait.
Was
a long time ago.
No,
Wait, who was he one of us?
he was the villain. He was lovely.
Okay, I remember that
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Rob knows. He knows who you're
Thank
talking
you, Rob.
Yeah, he was like in a,
Thank you.
Yeah, he was like in a wheelchair or something.
Yeah. And, like, has
I had
like
to
booby
remember.
traps and
Yeah.
guns.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, the fact that I didn't remember
United
that movie
Divided.
was just
that's a fun movie.
That was a great movie.
Wait, so, so you're saying
Well,
he was
that's-
I wouldn't go that far.
I love weird movies. Okay.
Whoa.
It was great. I love that movie.
Here, here, guys. Kenneth Branagh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
This is not a good
Yes, he
testament
was
to
in
his
Harry Potter.
career,
People, if
obviously.
you could see that, I don't think you
I
can.
don't think
Yeah, no.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
local
Didn't
street
work out.
I'm like, no, that is not even coming close.
Basically, he plays the older William Shakespeare in this movie, All Is True.
Looks very different there.
Yeah,
I can see
yeah.
it, though. I can see
I
what
really-
There we go.
Yeah, look at him.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. He's in the middle.
He looks completely
Yeah, yeah,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
well, that just shows you what hair and makeup.
I know.
Oh, no one actually looks the way they look on
Wow.
I
TV.
can't even believe that.
That's great.
He kind of looks like what he did in Wild Wild West. Never mind that.
what there or
yeah.
now?
No,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now. I'm like, that looks like Loveless. That's
Wild
just-
Wild West 2.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Back to the frontier. No.
No.
No, we gotta go see it.
I would see it.
Will Smith, Kevin Kline, bring them all back. Why
I'm gonna have
not?
to have an electric prod to my ass.
It's a fun movie.
I will
watched
hold your
opening
hand
night.
while bringing you
Rob
in.
thinks that he
You
would
watch
see this
opening night, you
film,
can watch
so.
anything.
He would?
Rob said he would
that
see
is-
this
that is
film
true.
the second.
Yeah, that is true.
Exactly.
Good. Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Rob's ready.
So, Amanda, did you like Kenneth Branagh's performance?
It's
Wow. Trying to formulate the proper response.
no.
Buckle your
I
seatbelt.
did like it, but it wasn't my style of movie
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was like the old Victorian type style of movie.
Mhm.
I feel like the way that he did it was perfect. Like I
Mhm.
did not know any of the things in the movie about
Yeah.
William Shakespeare. Like I
Yeah.
only know the generic things about him, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
showed it into his
Still
life.
stories, really.
They-
So if you knew a lot about Shakespeare, though, would it have been good? I'm curious.
It
I
would've-
feel like it was good either way.
Okay,
it would have
that's
changed
what
your
I'm asking.
perspective a little
Okay.
bit.
Because I would have known what to look
Because I
for.
like I'm one of those people that knows like a lot about Shakespeare.
do?
Because I had to. Well, I studied theater
Okay.
in college, so,
So I
I
feel
took
like you
like
would-
You would
30
love this.
Shakespeare
You would
classes.
really-
Yeah.
you
Well, you
would
should have had us watch this movie
Damn
instead.
it. Damn. I know.
So trying to get us to all watch on the basis of sex, and I was like,
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
the
only
closest
one.
flight to Kentucky will get back to you.
it was in the Lincoln Center one, but it was never
No,
in time.
none of the New York ones
Ah.
popped up for us. The closest one was Kentucky and Missouri. I was like, I'm not going there.
So
Lincoln
good
Center.
though.
sold out or
It
something.
was
It's
Lincoln
great.
Center, and it was just like at the worst
But everywhere we
times.
looked, it was in the city.
Yeah, it
So
was
why did Kentucky?
It came
I don't
out
know.
limited on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh.
my goodness. But yeah.
Very
yeah.
limited.
But yeah, speaking of
But I
that,
feel like you would have enjoyed this if you know his backstory because it
Yeah,
showed
that's right.
after his
What's it called?
career.
All is True.
now I'll go see it.
Yes.
It was definitely after his career, and it showed when he came back to his family.
Yeah,
So it
because
showed-
he managed this the Globe Theater. I think it was in London.
I've been there. I was in the Globe Theater.
Nice. Wait, oh, they
Wow.
rebuilt it.
It burned down, and then they took the pieces from the original Globe Theater and built
You
one
would really
nearby.
enjoy this.
Yeah, this is your movie.
But see, here's the thing about Shakespeare. I know I should see this one. The thing about
Yeah.
Shakespeare though is they don't actually know if he was one person or not.
Mm-hmm.
They think he could have
Like
been a collective.
Ghostwriters?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So
I've heard that. Yeah, yeah.
I've heard that too.
I'd like to see a movie on that. Is what
That-
I'd like to see.
That's
That
a
would
good
be
idea.
Because I think a lot of them were women, because a lot of the roles were in women parts, but women weren't allowed to write.
Interesting.
You know,
he
and
just
they weren't
wrote
even
it.
allowed to be involved in the theater, so they would write it, and then one guy
And give
was
it
like,
to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
exactly.
That's very cool. That they should make.
Yeah,
more like
most
that.
Shakespeare shows are women that are cross-dressing as men.
Right. That was the
That's so
thing.
true.
That's like a lot of the themes.
Shakespeare
So.
and
Right.
What was that other one? There's two.
No,
Like,
but I don't even mean like in the like. I mean the actual
Oh,
plays
yeah,
by
yeah,
yeah.
Shakespeare.
The
are,
parts
like, yeah.
were
Yeah, the actual
yeah,
character.
it's actual parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So silly.
That's how it was then.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I mean, the movie was good, but it kind of sounded like the phone call that you had. Like it showed his life being so successful that he wasn't able to take care of his family or be there.
Yeah,
with
he
like
couldn't
form
balance it.
relationships with his
Yeah.
family. Like he took care of them financially, but
Right.
Yeah.
there was no relationship quality there. So it showed that you have. Sometimes, if you want to go further in certain things, you have to pick one, and it
Yeah.
showed the struggles of his life because of the choices that he
It's
made.
tough, you know. He's a tortured soul, tortured
So
genius.
I mean, even though it was from back then,
Yeah.
it kind of showed life now. That's what
Same
people
idea.
go. You know, that's what people go through now.
Yeah.
Trying to be successful.
It was a good movie.
It was really good.
Very good. Judi Dench is in it. She plays his
She's a
her
great
Dench.
actress.
much older wife.
Judy Dench. She lied and said she would retire, and she can't stop acting.
Back.
She's great.
She can't stop
She's a
acting.
great
Dame Judi
actress.
Dench. Dame Judi.
Well, she'll be acting until like the last. little
Everybody
bit.
says
Her
that.
Like I'm
Last
gonna
dying
retire,
breath.
and then she.
Michael
one year
Bublé
she
said
had,
he wasn't going to
Yep.
record any more songs, and then 2 weeks
And then
later,
yeah, 2 weeks later he has an album.
They can't get rid of them. They can't get rid of the excitement.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, it's very well
Yeah,
acted.
very well acted.
And he directed. He's a great director
It
too.
was really good.
So I recommend this one. It's not. I don't think it's on my top 10 of the year, but it's a quality film.
It's hard to get on your top 10.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what is on my top 10.
yeah, it's New Year's Eve tomorrow, so now's your chance. What's the top 10 of the year?
Well, no, not my top.
Give it a go.
That's actually next
five?
week's show.
All right.
But preview.
Preview of the top 5.
I'll give. Okay. Well, I think
Top
my
two?
my number one
All right.
Uh-oh.
would probably be the Melissa McCarthy drama. Sorry, not. Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Wow.
Oh, as the.
Anyone?
I
Anyone?
heard good things
It
about
was,
that.
I love
Yeah.
Melissa
she
McCarthy,
took the-
but
And it was like
when
a
she took
really
the writings
serious
and,
role.
and sold them as
And it
like
was
something.
true story
Yes,
That was.
Wow.
It looked good.
that is up there for sure.
too. Wow.
How about you guys? Rob,
my
your-
top of
Um,
the year.
just one, yeah.
Top movie, hands down.
Yeah, yes, do it.
Of this year?
That we've seen this year, that came out this year.
That you like the most.
This year?
This year.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh,
2018.
All right.
Okay.
oh God.
I really haven't seen that many new movies this year, so it's hard for me to come up with something off the top of my head.
All right.
I'm trying to think here.
Something
I
that
mean,
jumped out at you.
Yeah, I mean, I was busy in college, so I didn't really have too much time to watch.
We'll come back.
That
I
college
mean,
student
yeah,
life.
I mean,
It's hard.
overall favorite movies: Terminator 1 and 2. You know.
Oh, you meant of all time.
I mean, of all time, but I was trying to think of
okay,
something
yeah.
this year,
Wait,
but
okay.
I really haven't seen
Good
that.
choices, sir. Very good.
You approve of this?
Yes. Jennifer,
My favorite this year.
this year.
I mean, this is so like. This is just me, Wreck-It Ralph. I'm the biggest Disney fan
Ralph
ever.
Breaks the
so,
Internet?
Yes, the second Wreck-It
All
Ralph.
right. Not as good as the original.
Not as good as the original, but I think they opened up a place for it to go if they want to make more.
Oh,
It's not like
wow.
they shut it
Yeah.
off like Toy Story 3, and then they were like, actually, let's make a fourth one.
We can make a fourth.
They
So-
said everything they could.
I mean, they
think.
opened
Yeah.
up Ralph and Vanellope
like,
to
"No,
the
we need
internet.
more."
Yeah.
That's like
That's true.
never-ending possibilities
I know.
now. So
And it was really smart. The script was great.
yeah, I loved it.
Yep.
Okay, so
Oh,
Ready
Rob.
Player One.
Oh,
that was a
good
good
choice.
one.
Yeah.
That was really good.
that might be on my top 10.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
one.
Dan.
Ooh. This actually might surprise. Oh, this might surprise Caitlin, or might surprise everybody. It was actually the Crimes of Grimwald.
Really?
I really liked that movie. I walked out of that movie going, "Wow, that was just like everything was just." I had way too many questions, but at the same time, I
Oh,
was
he
like,
had so many
who was
questions.
that? Who was that? Who was that? Who was that? And then the answer was, shut up, I'll tell you.
Wait a minute though. Isn't that a Harry Potter?
It's a Harry Potter movie.
Fantastic
Wow.
Beasts.
But
Yeah,
you said, didn't you just say?
I'm not a
Right.
really big fan of Harry
That's what
Potter.
she's.
Okay.
That's what she said it
But
was
that's why I'm
surprising.
saying.
He took me. He took me.
Yes.
And then I'm sitting there like giddy, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a great movie. He's like, what's going on? Who is that? I'm like, I will tell you at the end. I will
I can
explain
tell you the
everything.
scarring movie
Yeah.
of the year was that one you made me watch.
Which one?
The one where the guy gets
Scarring.
cancer and then he is cured and then they're like stuck being married to each other. After
about
everything.
Oh yeah, the young
Is that
guy.
what it's called?
After everything, yeah.
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
the most scarring thing I've seen this year.
It was a good performances though.
Oh, it was phenomenal performances,
But
but
she's
by
scarred for
scarring, I mean,
life.
yeah, exactly. By
Scarring.
scarring is like I think
Scarring.
about it sometimes and I'm like, man, I'm so glad I'm not in that situation.
It's horrible.
It's bad. It's bad.
That
Scarring
was
movies.
really
But a very good
oh,
movie for sure.
Great movie,
Yeah.
but I was just like cringing the whole time.
Oh,
Like, oh my
God.
god.
Oh my goodness.
Kaylin.
Oh god. See, I can't make a decision.
Terminator 2.
Oh.
No, it has to be, honestly, it has to be between The Crimes of Grindelwald, and Venom.
Yes.
I didn't
Venom
see
a
that.
lot.
I heard really
Venom
mixed
You saw
things.
Venom,
I
right?
liked it.
I
liked
liked
it.
it. I liked
Liked
it
it.
a lot. It was just so, I loved the CGI in it. I loved how the stories of how the character, Venom and Eddie Brock, like, totally, like, he did
like that.
not want to be with the symbiote, and the
Like,
symbiote
get
was
away.
like, suck it up, cupcake. You know, like, it was, that
my
was it. And
person.
it was just, they had to work together in, like, this mishmash. And I just, everything about Venom was, like, awesome.
And I like Tom
Yeah, I
Hardy
really
in
like
it.
that one. a lot.
Yes.
Because he was like
And then-
a weird choice. As I was watching the preview, I was like, really?
This is
Tom-
weird.
Because I heard from
Tom
one of
Hardy?
my comic book enthusiasts, he said that Venom is not an anti-hero. It's just a straight up villain.
Yeah, they said it wasn't
Didn't-
true to the story, but they wanted to make him likable. So.
Yeah.
Well, technically, like with yeah, well, no, technically he is like he's a likable villain, but he's like
A likable villain. That's a
likable
good way to
villain,
put
but
it.
it's more of he's
So,
his
like,
own
Deadpool? Like, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
Pretty much.
Kind of.
That's a
It's-
total
Pretty much.
anti-hero for sure.
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah, because originally, like with Venom, he was created just to be the biggest villain that Spider-Man ever faced. But then when eventually they were like, all right, we're gonna warp him and make it so, in his own mind, by killing these bad guys, doing this, doing that, he was a hero. He's like, I'm saving the day. I just saved that guy. I may have eaten that
I
person
ate
in
that
front
guy's
of that
head.
person, but
He was a bad
saved. Like
He was
they
a bad
actually showed
person.
in the comic a couple times where he ate somebody like straight in front of a person. She's just sitting there going,
But I
What
saved
the-
you.
what the no?
So it's basically
You enjoy.
is it basically Tom Hardy with like a split personality, but that's real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he's being
Kinda.
taken over.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Hardy. He's good.
He's
He's
good.
talented.
It was better than his role as Bane.
But I feel like the comedy
Yeah.
inside of it did remind me of Deadpool. So
A little
what-
bit.
Like it was funny.
And
it
then
was
The
a
Crimes
good,
of
it was like-
Grindelwald was... I love Johnny Depp's perspective of Grindelwald. And I loved how, like, all of a sudden it was like Dumbledore, and he's like, that's Dumbledore? I'm like, yeah, he wears three-piece suits back then. You know? But it wasn't as good as the first one. Nothing is as good as
I
the
think the
first one.
question of when the hell did he go with the robes came up twice.
Yeah, it's like, what happened? Like, where in his lifetime did he went from three-piece suit to PJs? What happened?
He's lazy
He
now.
stopped caring.
And the beard.
He stopped caring. He stopped shaving. He
He
Right.
was fly, and then he was just like, he lost it. He got lazy. Here's the Sorting Hat, guys.
So this
You're
is a
good.
prequel to the Harry Potter universe,
It's,
basically.
yeah, Fantastic Beasts. This is set in for the Harry Potter. I think it's set more in the 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is way before Harry Potter. So this is like
Years.
Like 50s, 60s.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Something like
something
that.
like that. And
That's cool.
it was when Grimwald was happening, and I don't want to get into it. It's gonna take way too long.
Yeah. No,
Way
And-
too long.
It'll give away a
Is
lot.
Eddie Redmayne's in this too, right?
I think so.
Because he's so good. He was I know he was in the first one. Great actor. Amanda, number one, do you have?
Of 2018.
Yes.
It'd have to be Infinity War.
Oh, okay.
That was really
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That
That
movie,
ending,
like,
though.
The ending, I was just stuck.
You just stuck to your seat like.
And like, you know how usually people would clap, like no one was clapping. Everyone was like, stuck.
We were like utterly confused of like, now what?
What happened?
What's gonna go on now?
Right.
What's going on? And they're like, these people will return, maybe. Question mark. What am I supposed to do with this information?
Well, we'll see what happens. What, in April, Dan?
And it's like a bad.
Yep.
It's like
April.
when you finish a season, and you're like, okay, what happens now? Now I have to wait.
Now I gotta wait.
Nope.
Or like
Yeah.
when you binge watch something on Netflix, and now you have to wait
Now
till
you
the
have to
next
wait.
year. It's
Or
horrible.
could you just read the comics and be spoiled?
But
No.
it's still
It
like
actually, they
you don't.
changed a
Yeah,
lot.
you don't know if they're
Yeah.
gonna change things. They
They
might
changed a lot.
change so much. People made it seem like they changed a lot of things. So.
I was very upset
Yeah.
of two things about that movie. And,
No.
that they
I
changed.
heard that
Not
in
even
the
that they
comic books that
changed.
Thanos is like much more ruthless. Apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't read them. I still haven't seen Infinity War, but I'm dying to see it.
And
Yeah, see it.
so many people agreed with Thanos. So
Yeah, it was the position that he took about why he was doing it. Like in the comic book, he was reason he was going. I'm going to take away half the world because I love death. I want her to be like here with me. Yeah, that was the reason for the comics. This was
Right.
a much like,
much broader reason.
okay, this is a better reason.
A reason that a lot of people agreed with.
Yeah. It's like overpopulation.
No,
Let's just snap that away. It's like,
yeah, but stop
Kind
like
of seeing
luring
where
people
he's
away.
coming from. I was like,
But,
no,
like-
this is bad, guys. This is bad.
Don't
bad.
take away Doctor Strange. Leave him. And
You
Spider-Man.
want to be
Don't
like
make,
selective, like
Yeah, like
just not
selective
this
certain
person.
people. Just not these. Leave these over here.
I don't know anything about any of this.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
Well, guys, we only have like 5 minutes left, so I just want to mention three things. First of all, I'm gonna mention on my show next week anyway, but On the Basis of Sex is
There you go.
one of the best movies.
I
of the
really
year.
want to see it.
I
I
do
just
too.
couldn't find
Yeah,
it anywhere that it was
I think
playing.
we all
Yeah.
want to see it.
The
It
trailer
was
was
just
really good.
amazing.
I guess it'll get a wider release soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it's in like mid-January. now,
Yeah,
like
that sounds
like
right.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody always has. I've been compared to Felicity Jones. That's like my
I see
person.
that. Sort of.
People are like, you act like her and you talk like her and you look like her, and I'm like, okay. So like
I
I'm,
see
I'm
more-
like dying to see it.
I see more Amy Adams, but
Oh well, that's
yeah.
a compliment too.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, I just like
I'll
I
take
like
it.
her. I like her a lot, so I want to see it regardless of the movie. Like I just want to see it because she was in it. You know.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. And
in 2
she's
weeks
a,
from now,
she's a
I'll come back.
British woman playing a Jewish girl from Brooklyn, so it's an interesting acting
Exactly.
challenge. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, when it comes out, guys, you definitely see it. It's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also want to mention that a couple weeks ago we went to Home Alone.
Yeah, it was like Halloween.
Home
It's a
Alone
little late.
in concert. They were.
Yes.
It was a live film to concert to
Yes,
film.
that's exactly what
Thank
it was
you.
like.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's
Perfect.
amazing.
That's basically it.
Actually, a really nice
Where did you guys
photograph.
see that?
That was at Lincoln Center.
I want
How did
this
I not
photograph.
know about that?
Yeah, it was a special holiday show,
It was
Wow.
perfect.
and they basically played John Williams' score live.
I never
incredible.
even paid attention
Wow,
to the
I'm getting
music.
chills right now.
How do
Yeah.
you do that?
I never even paid
Well,
attention to the
they
music
have
as
a-
much as I did when I watched
New York.
this.
What? New York. What?
Well, I know that they're trying to put together something for screening Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
With Elmer
With the-
Bernstein's
With
score.
Yeah.
Dan will be there.
Oh my
That's-
god.
Yeah,
We'll all
we
be
will-
there.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll all be there.
I
That'll
will
be another
join.
triple date.
It's an incredible experience to see the music playing
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the movie. Like, it's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Plus, it's a really
have
good
you
movie.
seen something like that
Yeah.
before, though?
I wanted
Have
to.
you seen anything like that?
No.
No.
It's
They did
so
that with
It's
The
so
Night
much
Before
fun.
Christmas a lot.
Yeah.
And-
And they did it with I think Star Wars and
Yes.
E.T.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All John Williams music.
It's
It's
incredible.
awesome.
I know that what was it? Macaulay Culkin. He just actually. I know he's doing his rounds of like all the different talk shows, getting his Instagram thing up. But he did a lot. I know.
What, for
He's
music?
dating Brenda Song. He doesn't need his Instagram.
No, he doesn't. But he was doing a lot of things on YouTube that I was like, oh wow. I
What
didn't
music
even-
wise?
Macaulay's
Yeah,
coming
he actually
back.
was on like was it the James Routh's show with the Angry Video Game.
Yeah, I just watched that last night.
It was
Yep.
funny as hell.
Really
He's
great.
just sitting there going, just making fun of his own games. He's like, what the hell? They didn't.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, interesting to heart. I was a kid getting a game made about myself. What the?
Some of the worst games ever made.
That'd be kind of weird to see yourself on a video game, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it would
Especially
be
as a
weird,
little
though.
kid.
It would be.
Controlling
like,
yourself.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be
exactly.
so
He
weird.
goes into a store, he picks up the game, he goes, Put the game down. You don't have enough money to buy it.
Oh my god.
Or Rob's waiting for another Home Alone. Come back.
Yeah. Where he's
that
grown
one.
up and
Yeah.
he battles.
Road
the-
to Redemption.
Yeah,
right?
Well, yeah.
He
post
said
that.
that,
Post
yeah.
that.
They
That
actually
sounds
did
so
a-
Not
cool,
me.
though.
It's a
Pitch
coming
that.
to terms.
That's
is
an
where
Like a
awesome
forgiveness
idea.
movie.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a blockbuster, I
They
guess.
did make like a little like short where Macaulay Culkin was like a cab driver, and he was just cursing and swearing about how his life was spiraling down because his parents left him home a couple times. And I was like, where is this?
Where
Yeah.
did I not miss this? Poor
You
kid.
guys big Home Alone fans, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rob
Yep.
is.
I mean, the first two were great.
Yeah.
The third one's actually not bad.
It's not terrible.
Yeah, I watched it, a good amount growing up. But I mean, the first two always have a very special.
There was a
place in
fourth
my heart.
one that
Yeah.
was just.
Oh.
That one I never saw.
Oh,
Yeah.
We don't speak of the
We
fourth.
pretend we don't see that.
We don't
It's
speak.
like all movies, you don't speak of the fourth one.
like Fight
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we have a fourth one.
You don't speak of Home Alone.
Sit down.
It's Fight Club. Fight Club. What's the
Why
first
they
rule
even
of Fight
make a
Club?
fourth
Good.
one?
It's pitiful.
Done.
So, guys, I've got a few seconds left. Plugs. Do we have anything that we want to mention? Plug?
We have a date for
Yeah.
Broken Hearted.
Yes.
Oh.
That's where I met Dan on the set of Broken Hearted.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Nice. Awesome.
It's coming out January 27th. If anybody wants tickets, you
Yep.
can contact me on Instagram or Facebook.
Sure.
JCO100.
Uh-huh.
And Facebook is just Jennifer Kovac. But
Yeah. Cool. With the accent over the E.
yes, I'm the only one on the internet, so
There you
you
go.
really can't miss me.
And I still don't know how to do that, to type that out. I have to,
I could teach you that.
I have
Hold
to
the E
go on
down.
Google
Google and look it up. Everybody
and
says it's
copy
me. I'll
paste
teach
it.
you how to do it. It's
Okay, I
easy.
appreciate it. I need that. All right, so Broken Hearted coming out. That's the premiere.
January
awesome.
27th. Yep.
27th. Cool.
Nice.
That's really soon.
Yeah.
I know.
Cool. Dan, anything? The usual?
The usual spiel that I always give, which is like 9 pages long. You can find me on Facebook with Shaggy GB. Find me on Instagram, Shaggy1331. We're actually starting a YouTube channel that
yes, we are.
we're slowly getting some steam. We're actually using Joe as our editor, so he's going to be doing a little more editing
know.
stuff. It's going to be a channel.
hang out with
nonsense, I
you.
believe.
Yeah.
Nice. What's the channel about?
It's basically video gaming,
Nice.
random thoughts that we have, like where it's like little skits that we're like, oh hey, that's a good idea.
Huh.
Maybe more
That sounds
joke.
like fun. Let's do it.
What's the name?
Channel nonsense.
I like
Oh,
it. Very
cool.
classy.
Yep. Yeah. Channel nonsense.
Two misfits making. What is it? Misfits.
Two
misfits.
misfits.
Misfits. Yes.
The two misfits.
That too.
That's my channel.
We're making the donuts.
Awesome.
God.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Amanda, anything this week?
No. I
Being
have
awesome.
I have nothing to plug.
It's okay. It's all right.
Well, I think. Okay.
Okay, I thought that was a joint
Oh, it is.
plug.
But I think you have
Sorry.
your cosplay page.
Yeah, I do.
She has
Liv-
something to plug.
Yep. I
Forgive
am.
me. Forgive me.
I am getting back into cosplay because of this one, but Liffy's cosplay is my stuff. You could look me up. It's either Instagram, Facebook. I don't even know how to use Twitter, but it's there.
You and me
It's
both.
there.
Yeah.
And then doing the YouTube channel with him. Usually then I'm not really I am a big movie buff, but I'm more of a video gamer.
Cool,
So
cool.
I'll be doing that next year.
Love to have you back to discuss, because we
Absolutely.
mentioned video games here and there.
I love video
Absolutely.
games too. See, I
Then-
love finding more women that like
There you go.
I play more video games than watch movies. Sadly, I'm sorry.
Well,
sorry.
that's okay.
I'm the exact
Randy keeps
opposite.
inviting me here, and I keep telling him I'm a theater
I'm
person,
sorry.
but I'm still here.
You
And
can ask Dan of how many movies I have not seen.
Yeah.
My list is long.
Yeah.
We just watched Titanic.
For the first
I will
Wow.
never again.
You still
time
haven't
as a
seen that?
couple.
Never
As a
again.
couple. Never-
That's me and the Titanic are star-crossed lovers. I have started that movie about 50 times. I have never finished it.
Oh my god.
Titanic.
Something always happens. One time the electricity went out.
So long.
Yes.
One time they the TV cut to commercials and never
Yeah.
came it was
It never
blue.
came back
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
That's me. Honestly, that's me in Forrest Gump. Haven't seen
Oh.
Forrest Gump fully through.
Love it. Love
It
it.
cuts out at one
That's-
point,
Me
and
too.
Amanda, that's
thank God,
next.
it's not
Forrest
the
Gump
only one.
screening.
It's on our list. I have a long list.
I have a
So,
novel.
Rob, there was anything else, or you?
Yeah.
good?
Actually, this week I was planning on reading Battle Angel Alita.
Oh, cool.
Because I know the movie's coming out.
James
produced by
Cameron's
James Cameron.
producing
so
it. Yeah,
super
for sure.
excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. So just real quick, some more plugs for Magnitude, our sponsor here at the show. January 12th is the Women's Conference in Hauppauge, Long Island. January 13th, the original Psychic Fair in Garden City at the Hampton Inn Hotel. That's from 11 to 5 p.m., 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. February 2nd to the 3rd is the New Life Expo in Boca Raton, Florida. March 3rd is the Holistic Expo Staten Island. March 22nd to the 24th, the New Life Expo in New York City. And finally, April 28th, the Awakenings Fair in Tarrytown, New York. So, got to do that. All right. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming today. This was
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
a great triple date.
It was awesome.
And we'll have more of them soon, I hope.
Yeah. Valentine's
Should be like-
Day.
oh my
There you
God.
go.
Yes.
And you're the one who initiated this.
I know.
Very good. Well, guys, thanks so much. And, yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody out
Happy
there.
New
Year. And we'll be back next Sunday with more Under the Radar. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care.
Under the Radar is all new next week with more movie reviews and interviews on Strong Island Radio and Television. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.